Alright, well, I'm not sure if this is working or not. This is my first time trying it. But we are going to experiment with a VR flight in my motion rig. My first time broadcast on YouTube. And I'll be flying from Little Rock, Arkansas over to Hot Springs, Arkansas in the Comanche 250 from A2A Simulations. Fantastic airplane. Anyway, let me get the plane set up for a flight. First we'll have to do is take off our control locks and turn some fuel on. I'm going to go ahead and set both tanks on. And let's go out and do a little walk around real quick, check our aircraft. We'll open our door here. Noisy outside, isn't it? Alright, let's put our flaps down. Looks good. Check our ailerons. No problems. And our fuel, we just got a little bit down in there, it looks like, which is what I've got. Put that back on. Fuel looks good, nice and blue. No contaminants. Alright. And we'll check our lights here. Ooh, nice and bright, yes. Take our tie down off. Check our main tanks. Hopefully it should be pretty well full. Yep, looks like it is. And remove our wheel chocks. Check our main tanks, and they look good as well. And our prop, everything looks good on it. No chips or dings. And this is the main thing we need to check here, our oil. Looks good, 9 quarts, color is great. So we can put that back up and continue our walk around. Check our other tank. It also should be full. It is. So everything looks good there. Well, if I get my mouse to go right, there we go. Check the oops. Take our pitot. And let's check our, turn our battery on. We're going to check our pitot temperature. See if it warms up. It should be cold right now. Yep, cold, blue. Turn our pitot on. Let's see if it starts to heat up. Oh yeah. Hot now. Heato is working. Back off. Check your other. Oh yeah. Very bright. And our left-hand tank, should also be pretty well just about empty, 3 gallons. Looks about right. And the fuel on that side also looks good, nice and blue. And we'll check our ailerons on the left wing. No binding, no scraping, sounds good. And our left-hand flaps, nice and solid. Check our static port, it's clear, no problems there. And let's remove our tie down. Check our elevator. No issues. Rudder's nice and tight. Check our other static port. Nice and clear. We won't be needing to, well, we might as well put a little bit of baggage on board. We'll get here in this tool bag. That's all we'll need for this little short trip. And back to the cockpit. Let's center our view. So our walk around is complete. Everything looks good on that. We'll close our windows and doors. Put our mixture in. Full forward on our prop. Crack our throttle a little bit. Take our flaps back off. We won't need them. And we'll do a little prime. It's 42, 43 degrees Fahrenheit in Little Rock right now, according to the temperature probe. We'll give it about 4 squirts of primer. And we'll come over and turn on our master power. Whoops. Master power on. And we will put a rotating beacon. Turn our mags to both. And let's give her a whirl. See if it'll crank up. Oh, there it goes. It didn't want to crank, did it? Alright, let's running a little rough there. Let's lean that. There we go. Leaned out, sounds pretty good. We'll let it idle here for a minute as we set up everything. We can should have all our controls off. Good, we can get rid of the tablet for now. I won't need it. And we'll go ahead and turn our avionics on. Get our radio. Bring in our say intentions AI. Actually, I'll leave that off and I'm just going to bring it in over here. We're on towers 118.7. Get the rest of our radios on. Transponder. put that into standby. Standby at the moment. ADF that we won't really be needing. Turn our nav over here. 118.7 is ground, or tower. Ground is 121.9, so we're already on, got those dialed in. We'll dial up our ATIS at 125.65. We got that dialed in, switch it over.
Approach runway 4 right 4 left tree 6. NOTAMs. Runway 4 left precision approach path indicators out of service, advise on initial contact, you have information Quebec. Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport / Adams Field information Quebec. 145 tree Zulu.
Information Quebec.
090 at 9er. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, broken at 16000 foot, temperature 6. Dew point 6. Altimeter tree 050. Simultaneous visual approach runway 4 right 4 left tree 6.
Anyway, we got information Quebec.
Runway 4 left precision.
And our altimeter.
Out of service, advise on initial contact, you have information Quebec.
Information Quebec.
Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport / Adams Field information Quebec. 145 tree Zulu. Wind 090 at 9er. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, broken at 16000 foot, temperature 6. Dew point 6. Altimeter tree 050.
3050.
Approach runway 4 right 4 left tree 6. NOTAMs. Runway 4 left precision approach path indicators out of service, advise on initial contact, you have information Quebec.
Alright, 3050.
National Airport / Adams Field information Quebec.
We have information Quebec, and we'll need to get our compass aligned. We're heading due west right now, and that looks like it's actually on the money for some reason. Wow. Anyway, we're probably going to be taking off on 18. I mean, 18 most likely. So that's all actually good. I must have that set up from the night before. Can't believe our compass is right on the nose. Alright, well anyway, we have ground on 121.9, is that correct? Pull that back up again. 121.9. Oops, wrong thing. Wrong thing there. And you forgive me for fumbling around. This is new to me. Alright, ground is 121.9. Alright, so we are on ground. Oil is about warmed up enough. Let's take off the parking brake. And we'll go up and give it a run up. And there's a big one taking off from Little Rock. Looks like somebody out here with their V-tail Bonanza sunk into the ground. Well, that's interesting, huh? Alright. Let's go ahead and... Nope, we've got our tanks pretty well full. Close. On our mains, anyway. And we'll go ahead and run our engine up. 2,000 RPM. Check our mags. less, about 100 drop off, a little less. Right mag, left mag, about the same or a little less, and it looks good. And pull our carb heat in. We should also lose a little RPM. We did. And our prop, let's verify it works as it should. We'll go through 3 cycles on the prop. Make sure it'll hold 1800 RPM solidly. Looks good. Alright, back down to idle. Our cylinder temperatures are still good. Cylinder head temperature is good.
Pushback approved, expecting runway tree 6 Tornado 892 Tango Oscar.
Alright, and let's call in for a ground clearance and get taxied out to get on our way to Hot Springs. Comanche, November 610 Alpha Sierra is at general parking. Request taxi to the active. I've taken off to the west to Hot Springs. Also have information Quebec. Alright, actually we need to get our navigation lights on. We won't need those for taxiing. Well, are we going to get clearance? Or did I not call for it correctly? What did I do? Anything? I should be connected. I don't think my time has expired. It does expire today. This is my 1 month I paid for. Oh well, let's try that one more time. Clinton ground, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra is at general parking. Request taxi to the active. We're departing to the west to Hot Springs, and I do have information in Quebec.
Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra, Bill and Hillary Clinton National Ground runway tree 6 is active. Taxi via Alpha, hold short of runway tree 6. Contact tower on 118.7 when ready for departure. Information Bravo is current.
Taxi via Alpha to 36. We'll contact tower when ready for departure. Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra. Alright, I think that's what they the 36 is active, which is right over here, right out this way.
Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra taxi to runway tree 6 via Alpha, hold short of runway tree 6. Contact tower on 118.7 when ready for departure.
Taxiing to runway 36 via Alpha. We'll contact tower when ready for departure. Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra. All right, let's switch over to tower on 118.7. We got everything ready to go. We'll go ahead and call for clearance. Looks like we're going to have a pretty good crosswind here taking off this morning. All right.
Aircraft calling Northeast Philadelphia Tower winds. I can't fly straight in for runway tree, report tree. Mile final.
Clinton Tower, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra is holding short at runway 36 with information Quebec requesting clearance to the west, flying to Hot Springs.
Aircraft calling tower. Your transmission is unreadable. Say again with your call sign and request.
Clinton Tower, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra is holding short at runway 36, ready for departure to the west. Let's see, I may have to restart the client if it's not reading me properly.
Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra, enter left downwind for runway tree 6.
What? Yeah, I think we're going to restart the client. Clinton Tower, Comanche 610 is holding short at 36, ready for departure. Well, they're having a little hiccup this morning, it looks like.
Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra, Piper on the ground. Say again your request with your call sign.
All right, let's restart this client. It's obviously not hearing properly. Let me be right back. Clinton Tower, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra is holding short, runway 36, ready for departure.
Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra, runway tree 6, line up and wait.
Line up and wait, runway 36, Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra. I'm not sure what I'm lining up and waiting for, but we'll give them a moment and then we'll call back again for another clearance and see if clearance will clear us. Give us clearance. Anyway, it looks like it'll be a nice day, other than we're going to have a brisk crosswind coming from the right. Clinton Tower, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra, holding short 36, ready for departure. I had to bump them sometimes, they won't get clearance out.
Sierra, runway 36, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 36, Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra. Alright, now we're going to put our landing lights on as we enter and our strobes as we enter the field. See what kind of takeoff I can manage with this crosswind. Flaps are up. Fuel pump is on. Mixture's full. Full throttle. Yeah, but definitely a crosswind there, taking off. Alright, we are up and away. I'm going to retract my gear. And we'll pull our manifold pressure down to 24 inches of mercury. And our prop to 2400 RPMs. And I'm going to pull our mixture back in into hear a little cough in the engine, a little. There we go. And we'll add a little mixture to it again. It should be pretty close.
X-ray, contact Philadelphia ground on 121.7. Have a good evening.
And we are up and away. Alright. Temperatures all look good on our cylinders.
4217, good evening.
I guess I should have put a direct to. You know what? I want to change this to old school. I'm not even going to use GPS at all. Should have took this off ahead of time. No GPS. We'll just use regular radios. And we fly at a Little Rock. There's the Altel Arena, or whatever one it is now. And Dickie Stevens baseball field. We see downtown Little Rock, the few buildings we have, along with our state capitol. We're on the north side of the river, so we're actually flying over North Little Rock. And the beautiful Arkansas River. Alright, let's see what we want to climb up to as we go towards Hot Springs. Anyway. And the Little Rock Country Club's golf course. Along with Rebsman Golf Course. Two different golf courses right there together. Anyway, if no one's seen it, this is the A2A's Comanche 250. In my opinion, probably the best aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator, at least in the general aviation class. Really, really well modeled, fun to fly. And we can kick off our landing lights now, no longer need those. As we fly over the Big Dam Bridge. I think it's the longest pedestrian bridge that's not made for automobiles in the U.S. It's over the Murray Lock and Dam, but it's kind of sunk in the sim. And Interstate 430 coming across the river.
Tower Good evening, this is Piper Oscar Mike Alpha 08. We are at holding point Alpha, runway 5 right, and we are ready for departure.
A2A Comanche is, like I say, one of the best planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator, if not the best in my opinion.
Raleigh Durham Tower at holding point Alpha runway 5 right, cleared for takeoff. Fly runway heading VFR at or below 3,500. Departure
Let's pull our prop back down and just a little cruise. This is about all the altitude we need. I'm not going up high. And I'll pull my RPMs back down to about 2,000 RPMs along with 20 inches of mercury on the manifold pressure. And we're flying by another local landmark. Is Pinnacle Mountain straight ahead of me, to my 11 o'clock more or less. Very photographic mountain, and it's also a state park, made into a state park in the mid-70s, 1970s that is. Oh, we got some turbulence here. Anyway, it's a unique view. If you're looking at it from this direction, from the ground, it almost looks like a volcano because of the two peaks standing off the mountain. And there's the Arkansas River off to the right, and Lake Maumelle straight on my nose. That's our main water supply for Little Rock. Anyway, there's Pinnacle Mountain State Park. We'll fly by. And let's take a trim.
Piper Oscar Mike Alpha, we are able.
Anyway, just a little history about myself. I'm call sign Triton, or gamer tag Triton, in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've been flying Flight Simulator since the very first one. My brother actually owned a Apple IIe when I was a teenager. And he had got Bruce Artwick's Microsoft Flight Simulator, and and I tried it out on his system with, I think he had like a knob that you turn for a controller that you could bank. I'm can't hardly remember, but I do know it didn't have any sound, and all I had was vector black and white graphics. Hang on just a second, let me put my motion compensation on. Activate motion compensation. Activate motion compensation.
Motion compensation off.
Oh, it was on. Activate motion compensation. Activate motion compensation.
Motion compensation activated.
I'm not sure why she was giving me a little trouble there.
Skyhawk 3.
Anyway, back to what I was talking about.
Alpha Zulu in the parking area, ready for takeoff runway 24 for KSEE.
Always fascinated with flight, and that Flight Simulator was the beginning. Within a little while, I was able to get my own computer, an Atari 800 that goes back, and they had finally came out with Microsoft's Flight Simulator 1.0, I think it was, by Bruce Artwick. You know, he was still, I think, named on it. And I bought that from my my Atari, and loved it. Of course, at that time, you finally had joysticks and color and sound, even though none of which were very good. Tweaks and buzzes and Still mostly, vector type graphics. But it was the beginning, and I think I've owned every other copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator since then till now. And with each version, I would play it for a while, and I would get bored because it's very limited. Didn't have a lot of capabilities, and you never felt like you're really flying. It was a good experiment and knowledge base building, but I would lose interest after a few months at most. We go back to it occasionally, but my last version, of course, was Flight Simulator X, and I got bored with that, and then I totally, as I got older, got totally out of computers, raised children, and then 14, 15, 16 years later, saw the advertisement for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 version, and it just looked incredible. And I started checking it out. It was made for VR, something I've always wanted to try but had never tried. Let me get my windows back up here. Always wanted to try it but never had the opportunity. Anyway, I decided I was going to invest in a new computer system because I hadn't had one in several years. So I looked at the requirements and bought the best computer I could get my hands on at the time, and that was a Hewlett-Packard 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte digital drive, M2 drive, and a RTX 2080 Super video card. And when the simulator came out, I, of course, immediately downloaded it. I had old peripherals left over from my earlier days of flight simming, so I brought all those out, started flight simming. It was just incredible. The realism was unmatched. It was just 100-fold better than I had ever seen.
Skyhawk 3 Alpha Zulu, winds calm, runway 6 cleared for
And
takeoff.
couldn't wait for VR to come out, so I experimented around with head tracking, got it working pretty good with the little video camera I had. Matter of fact, the same video camera I'm using to film my external view right now. And that was pretty good. It stepped it up a bit. But then I got VR when it came available, I think the following January. And having never experienced anything in VR, it was a total new thing. And I didn't really know what to expect. And then when I first got it on it, I was a little disappointed because the clarity, it wasn't as clear as the monitor was on the gauges that I see in front of me and stuff. But boy, was it better. I mean, the whole world was life-size. Wherever I turned my head and looked, I saw. It was, infinitely better than head tracking only. And the 3 dimension, the depth, I just couldn't believe it. I was just totally blown away. Started flying on a lot of group flights with various people, telling them about VR and my incredible experience with it. And fly in the midst of flying a favorite group of mine, one of our members had built him a home motion sim. Spent 2 years developing it and building it, and I think $12,000 in expense to build this incredible 6 degree of freedom motion rig. And another one of our flight guys he liked the idea too. I had never thought, because I wasn't going to dump $12,000. I had some limitations on it, and mainly, I don't know, I might have spent the $12,000 if I had to, but the main thing is I didn't have the mechanical skill without doing a lot of research and spend a lot of time, and I didn't want to do that. But luckily, another simmer did a lot of researching on the market and came across DOF Reality and bought one of their rigs and got it and put it together and ran it, and he fell in love with that, and he started telling me about it and how realistic it made it feel. I always thought it would, because in VR all you need is a little bit of a external source to give you motion, to trick your brain. It's already fooled by VR so much, but the little movements would totally fulfill your other sensations of motion. And he said it's the best thing he ever did with, and this is from an ex-pilot. So anyway, it wasn't long that I was buying my motion rig, and here I am today, flying with actually a haptic seat, HFH haptic seat, it gives motor vibrations and stall vibrations and such. I got a DOF Reality H3 motion rig, and still running the H2 Reverb G2 from Hewlett Packard. But boy, wow, is this the most incredible experience that I've ever had. And I have been just jabbering away, and I really don't even paying attention to where I'm at. I probably need to at least dial up a VOR or something for Hot Springs. Yep, I'm a little off course. I wasn't paying attention. Let's dial up their VOR, why don't we? And 110. Alright, so we're going to dial up. I didn't even ever turn my radios on. Boy, I'm not a very good pilot today. Get everything else hopefully running right, and don't need the fuel pump anymore. Turn that off. Anyway, 110. But needless to say, this has been an awesome journey to finally fly in VR with a motion rig, and giving me all these sensations of turbulence. What you won't be able to see on the video, of course, is what I feel, and that's the gentle bouncing around of the rig. I don't know if it'll show even in, if I do some crazy maneuvers, I'm sure that'll show up fine, and you'll be able to see pulling up, pulling down, doing all these things, yawing back and forth. I could show off the motions, but typically you don't need all that. You just need those subtle influences, just enough to tip your brain. I mean, it's almost like sometimes you can forget you're even flying in a rig. Alright, so we are flying to that VOR, which is right now at 2200, about 190, heading of 190. Alright, we need to turn over to a heading of 190, roughly. And that would be Lake Ouachita off in the distance. So yeah, we're going to be turning back on towards the right direction here. So we'll at least be heading to the airport. But that's kind of a nutshell where I'm at. I mean, who I am. I've been flight simming since the early 80s, with a big gap between, say, 2007, 8 up to 2020 without any flight simming, in a number of those years without even a computer, just using tablets and other things. But ever since August of 2020, when this came out, virtually every day I'm flying. You know, not when I go on vacations or take off days and go places here and there, but in my free time, which I've got a lot of now because I am retired, I fly every day, and fly with a number of groups, online groups in Microsoft Flight Simulator forums. Made a number of friends through the flight simulation. And got to experience the world like I've never seen it. Now we're on the brink of a new update coming out next week, beginning of next week, just a few days away. It will bring in Sim Update 15, which will add hopefully some more realism to the planes. And it's got me excited for that, and I'm pretty well super excited that for the next iteration of Flight Simulator 2024 coming out later this year, and hoping it will bring much more to the sim, but kind of keeping my expectations down a little bit. I know it won't be as big a leap as it was from Flight Simulator X to 2020. That was, I mean, just like a breakthrough. And I must say,
Piper 5, LK, dew pitch tower, winds 180 at 1 tree runway 20 right, cleared for takeoff, make right, close traffic.
Anyway, I need to dial up, I guess, my next CTAF for Hot Springs.
Cleared for takeoff, right, close traffic, timer, November 255, Lima Kilo.
A sauce, they call it. 119,925. 119,925. Which is kind of hard to do. 925. Well, 19925. I hope that's right because it's got an extra digit that I don't have available. And back off, I'm getting back off course again. And we'll fly over here towards the Ouachita River off in the distance. It's what creates this lake, the Ouachita Lake, and it also creates Lake Hamilton and Lake Catherine, all downstream from it. The Ouachita being the cleanest and probably the most beautiful lake in Arkansas. Again, in my opinion. But I'm sure a lot of people would agree. It's all inside of a
3,200 feet inbound for
state park grounds, so doesn't have houses, populations living on it. Does have some marinas, is a recreation lake as well.
296S21, cleared Islands approach runway 30, and I will report established on final.
Let's see, we need to be flying now and a heading of 1.
Midway downwind, Skyhawk 350.
Cessna tree 10, winds tree 0, tree at 14, runway tree 0, clear to land.
Anyway, these are the Ouachita Mountains as well. Ouachita being an Indian name from the originators that lived in Arkansas. We had a number of different Indian tribes that lived here in the early days before the English came over. Spanish and English and French.
Gillespie Tower, Skyhawk 350, request direction to airport.
Surprised that Little Rock never handed me off. We're in uncontrolled airspace now, but I guess I should have asked for some flight following if they wanted to that. But anyway, off to my 2 o'clock, that is Hot Springs Airport. And we should also tune in the ASOS, I guess, as well. Let's just look at it on a little nav map. Boy, all these nice tools inside of VR now compared to where it started. You know, I can pretty much do anything I want inside the simulation now.
Cessna tree 10, contact ground on 121.7. Have a good evening.
Anyway, looks like we're going to need to come in on 105, which has got an ILS. That's good.
Ground on 121.7, Cessna 131.
Let's see what our distance is. 2.8 miles. Hot Springs traffic. Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra is 2 miles east of the runway on a downwind leg for runway 05. Hot Springs traffic. Anyway, like I said, this is the Ouachita River that comes down. I'm not sure what she said. Let me pull her up real quick. What did you say? We'll expect my entry instructions shortly. Comanche 0 Alpha Sierra. Well, they're giving me entry instructions. One 9925. CTAF is 123. It's actually 123, huh? Okay, well, we're gonna go in. Hot Springs traffic, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra, at 5.4 miles east of the runway, turning base leg for runway 05. And we'll call our All right, we're approaching into Hot Springs, getting ready to end my first stream on YouTube, live stream that is. Experimenting with this, forgive me for all my mistakes and poor skills, but I'm having fun, and in the end, that's all it's about. Hope somebody will have some enjoyment out of this, and hopefully it turns out reasonable. Anyway, we're fixing to turn on our final for runway 05. I'm fixing to call traffic one more time, once or twice more anyway. Hot Springs traffic, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra, 5 miles east of the runway, turning final for 05. Actually, we're 5 miles west. I don't even know my directions. Anyway, I need to cut down my power and get down, don't I? Landing gear down. Oh, shoot. Landing gear is down. Cut the power and bring our trim back to neutral. There we go. We're going to throw a notch of flaps to reduce our speed even further. Lined up for 05. I have no idea if this is working, if I'm transmitting, if I'm got a broadcast out there, but we'll see. And anybody that gets a chance to watch this in the future, thanks for watching. Any comments, criticisms, be sure and post them in. But like I said, I'm just basically doing this for the fun of it. Alright, we're 95 knots, 3 miles out. We'll call in for a 2-mile final in case anybody's in the local area. They'll know we're here. I know there's not because it's a sim and there's no traffic running besides me and whoever else may be live in the sim. But chances are not too many people flying into Little Rock. I don't even know what server I'm even on. I'll set all that up next time, but this has mainly been a test to see if it works. Hot Springs traffic, Comanche 610 Alpha Sierra is on 2-mile final for runway 05. Hot Springs traffic. And it looks like we got a bit of a crosswind, not too bad, not as much as it was in Little Rock. Adding a little power here to maintain our airspeed. This crosswind. Put in a little left rudder. Try to hold our nose on the center line, more or less. And across the threshold, we'll cut our power. And a slight flare. And touchdown. And welcome to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Should have took you by the Hot Springs Tower over there. You can see in the distance barely. We'll exit the runway. Hot Springs traffic, Comanche 610, Alpha Sierra is clear of the runway. And here we are. Flaps up, clean up the aircraft. We'll get over here and park it, shut it down, and I'll end this inaugural stream. I've done Twitch streams in the past as well, but none of them professionally, none of them are good. Just something to play around with. And I thought I'd try it out on YouTube as well. See how it works any better. I know they've got the ability to run higher resolution, but I doubt I'll be able to run any more on my system. So it's amazing to me that I can run streaming software along with Flight Simulator in a complex aircraft, and and fair graphics, nothing exorbitant, medium style graphics settings. But maybe later on I'll get get better equipment, be able to do a little bit higher resolution. Well, I love this plane. Listen to the brakes squeal. Alright, we'll pick us a parking spot over here. No, that wasn't too entertaining to anybody, most likely, but see, this has mainly been an experiment. Alright. Cut our mixture back, kill our engine, pull our prop back. We'll shut off our fuel tanks. Turn off our mags. Get rid of our strobes. All our lights are off. Heater off. Radio's off.
Sedona approach. Good morning. This is Skyhawk 311 Echo Golf. Currently 18 nautical miles from the airfield. Requesting landing runway.
Alright, then I'll take my avionics off and our power off. We'll put our control locks on, and we'll go ahead and put our tie downs and pitot cover, wheel chocks, and our parking brake on. And that should tidy up our airplane. Should be good to go for our next flight. Anyway, thanks for coming by. If anybody ever sees this in the future, Thank you very much. Have a great day. Enjoyed it. Triton out. Stop broadcast.